Hey buddies, right now I am editing footage for tomorrow's show at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time for our Post-PAX South extravaganza. However, breaking news has prompted me to do a vlog because, hey, Nintendo is, look, I'm sick. Nintendo has become, officially, the first ever video game company that is also an MCN. Unless maybe you include Screw-A-Tech, because technically they are an MCN and they do have a video game. And I'm sure you could go out there and find other companies. But the first major company that not only makes video games, but also is a multi-channel network. How? So first this was debuted as the Nintendo Creator Program, and instantly my ears perk up and I go and look at this, and this is kind of like what they were hinting at over in Japan for their version of YouTube, saying that if you make videos in relation to this contest or this like program they're doing, you'll get a share of the revenue or whatnot. And people said this is a precursor for what's going to happen on YouTube. I said, don't get ahead of yourself. Maybe not, maybe so, I don't know. This could be like a program they run for a few months. They have officially announced it stateside in with YouTube and with PayPal and Google Wallet or whatever they call it. You will get paid through YouTube 70% for the videos you create with Nintendo content in them if you submit your entire channel to Nintendo through this program. And that is why I'm saying that Nintendo has officially become an MCN, because this includes videos that aren't necessarily Nintendo videos. They will monetize your entire channel, meaning that you are basically sacrificing or forfeiting all videos that you have previously made, whether they are by EA or Microsoft or like BioShock videos. They could be BioWare videos. It could be any video that isn't Nintendo, and you are suddenly losing 30% to Nintendo. Let's get back to the positive, because I started off kind of positive on this because I was excited as soon as I heard it. I was like, 70% to the creators? This is what I predicted about a year and a half ago when I said, when there was other Nintendo troubles going on, and I vlogged about it, and I said that, how about something that works like the way that if you play a song on your acoustic guitar that is like Lady Gaga or something like that, and it is identified by the Content ID system, they will do a split of revenue between you and whoever, Kanye West or whatever, and both the creator of the person who covered the song and the creator will get some revenue from it. And I said, why can't this work for video games? Maybe there's a future for companies where video game companies split a little bit of the revenue with Let's Players, and they can decide the split, and thus, like, if they take less of the split, then it'll encourage more people to play their game and get more advertising. If they take more of the split, then maybe, you know, they'll get more money, but then less people will be inclined to play the video game because they're not getting as much of a share when they play it, blah, blah, blah. The point is, that made me excited when I heard that basically my prediction had come true, or that Nintendo was being so proactive to do this, something that we didn't expect because we thought they were definitely stuck in the past. This is, regardless of what I think of it, a proactive... It's proactive, it's a new idea, certainly, and that's why it's exciting. I'm excited, despite the fact that my enthusiasm declined very quickly after I started to read the Creators Program Terms and Conditions. Specifically, Section 7B that states, let me just bring that up here, 7B tells you the code and conduct, and I was kind of expecting something like this, and I knew that this was going to be an issue, especially with our channel. Anteater urethras, anybody? You shall not engage in any discriminatory, defamatory, libelous, hateful, harassing, abusive, obscene, anteater urethras, threatening, physically dangerous, unlawful, or otherwise objectionable, and that's the key one right there, bold. They didn't bold it, but I think they should have bold objectionable, because that is a subjective term, meaning that anything they decide they don't like, it could be that your hat's on crooked and they think that's objectionable. That allows them to terminate the YouTube Creators Program. Once the agreement is terminated, you must, upon their request, take down all videos related to the program. And because submitting your entire channel to the program to get that 70% revenue split, that means all your videos, whether they are something with Mario or something with your kitties, they can request that you take down all of those videos. In fact, they may even be able to go beyond requests. They may even be able to get YouTube to take them down just instantly. They might be able to wipe out your account. You can, on an a la carte basis, submit video by video. So in that sense, you could see that like, you know, maybe just go video by video basis, maybe just the ones that get caught by Content ID, something like that. So that is something that you can do. So you don't necessarily have to be in the clenches, in the clasp of Nintendo's claws on that sense, but if you, in the case of many, many videos, you're not going to probably want to sign over your life to Nintendo. The people this is going to be attractive to are people that don't currently have YouTube partnership. I don't know how hard it is to get YouTube partnership these days, but I do know it's pretty easy to get onto an MCN because they friggin' request it a million... I can't speak from experience because I'm requested like 3 times a day by MCNs to sign up. I don't know what it's like if you are a small channel with 1,000 subscribers, but I generally regard MCNs and the YouTube Partner Program alone. I thought that it's gotten easier since the old days, but I can't speak from experience. I'm willing to listen to your experiences with that. But regardless, this will be attractive for people who have been unable to get partnered because they can instantly start monetizing their videos, regardless of being a part of an MCN or the YouTube Partner Program. The other thing that's an issue with this, that termination clause, number 10, that makes it so they can take down all your videos. Here's another problem. It's not just if you don't adhere to those things about obscenity and objectionable content. Amendments can be added to this agreement at any time. Anytime. And if you don't agree to those amendments, whether it be that like you have to at the start of every video say all hail Reggie Fils-Aimé, that could be added. They could do that. It's silly, but they could add that. And if you don't agree to it, they can terminate the agreement. And once again, even though you did nothing wrong before, the agreement is technically terminated and technically they can get rid of all your videos once again. I'm not saying that they would, I'm saying that they're reserving the right to. And that isn't something that you should be on the hook for if, say, this is your business, your life, that you pay for your rent. With making videos for the internet, that you spent since 2006 your entire waking hour pretty much making videos and building up a business to do this for a living. What I'm saying is not for me. And while this is interesting what they're doing, definitely interesting, very interesting in fact, because it's unprecedented. This is the first time that a video game company's come forward and started to do this. Now, that shouldn't be to say that I think that Nintendo's good for having done this. I fear that people are going to see this and say, Nintendo, good guys. Good guys. They're being so good to everybody because they've finally, like, allowed you to take some of the revenue. They didn't need to do that. They didn't have to do that. Well, you know what? Every other video game company out there is letting us keep 100% of the revenue, except for in minor cases, in extremely rare cases, in which some fucking game company goes nuts and tries to take down a bad review. Usually extremely small indie companies that go after Total Biscuit. He seems to be a magnet for those sorts of things. But the fact is, every other company, unless it involves some third-party music in the game, like a Kanye West song, personal sticking point for me, with Saints Row the Third, if they find that, they have no control because, unfortunately, they didn't foresee the day where Let's Plays would be a big deal, and thus they didn't license the song to be used in Let's Play videos. That's not their fault. That's some other company flagging those videos. In the case of, there's one other instance with Shadow of Mordor, I've been flagged for writing a Karagor song, which, even upon dispute, they reinstate. And that seems to be an issue with the left hand not knowing what the right is doing because Warner Brothers Music Group seems to be flagging and rejecting those claims, whereas Warner Brothers, I think, has made it pretty clear that it's hear no evil, see no evil. I think they're one of the companies that hasn't made an explicit statement, but for the most part, they don't flag any videos besides those ones with the Shadow of Mordor soundtrack is what's being flagged, not the game content. Anyways, I'm going on a bit of a diatribe here. This is interesting, and I want to go back to what I front-loaded this with, because YouTube being an Nintendo being an MCN, that is a sudden realization I came to towards the end of reading the agreement, that because you can sign up with your entire channel and they will monetize all the channels on your video, or all the videos on your channel, that they have basically opened up, I'm picturing an entirely new department down at Nintendo exclusively to deal with this, because they're promising a turnaround to 72 hours. Videos that you submit will be approved, or will be either approved or disproved. In order to do that, like, it just broke, this just happened, but like, they are going to be inundated with millions of videos, I am sure, from people, mainly, I am thinking, people who are unpartnered, who don't know the business, or people who are partnered but don't know the business side of this and didn't read the terms and conditions closely enough. The point is, I think that Nintendo's going to try to make this another leg of their business, which is interesting because I had little birds tell me that the revenue they gathered over the course of a year from the Nintendo, from content IDing videos, was only a couple million. And I mean, only a couple of million. Multiple sources have told me this off the record, but still, a couple million is just a minuscule little drop in the ocean of Nintendo's income. And you have to wonder, they must be just doing this out of principle. Just like I've been always annoyed about this out of principle, because the number of videos they actually content ID on my content, while many, like, you know, probably up to 50 by now, I have hundreds upon hundreds of Nintendo videos and thousands upon thousands of other videos. In the end, it's a drop in the bucket that I'm losing out on revenue. It's always been about a matter of principle, and the fact that Nintendo has kind of been saying, we don't think that you deserve anything from this. We don't validate your work as a creator, as a video creator, and your added value to these videos by playing these games, that this isn't a business. It's our content 100%. Well, the principle can be struck down now because they have admitted that this is some work that you're doing with us and we want to share with you. So that's a positive thing in that. That is positive, and I'm happy that they finally admitted that. In a way, I guess they've admitted it. But I forget what I was, my point that I was going to make there. Oh yeah, the matter of principle, the drop in the bucket. On the other hand, you have to think, like, because it's just a drop in the bucket, why don't they just let it go? Why don't they, what I think it's a control issue. It's the very conservative company, Nintendo, from the most conservative province in Japan, saying we must control everything. And they've seen the climate, they've seen the online climate and the internet climate, and they know that they can't be 100% foot to the ground. You can't make videos with their content. They realize they can't do that anymore because they tried and the internet blew up, and they reeled back a little bit. Not all the way, but they did reel back a bit. So this is them admitting that they that they have to move with the times, but at the same time, they are going to control it more than any other company is currently controlling it. And so that's basically it. I don't think this is about the revenue for them. I think this is purely about control. And so because of that, I won't be signing up to this, because I cannot have the sort of Damocles above my head waiting for the day that Nintendo suddenly decides that some of my content is objectionable and they're going to take down hours upon hours of work that we've done and memories that we've created together. Now, on to the list of supported games. It must be mentioned that not all games are supported through this program. They have a whitelist, and I haven't read it thoroughly. There's a lot of games on it, many, many games. But just a quick scroll will tell you that this is not all of Nintendo's games. There's no way. This is, and then Apple F, Smash. Not a single Smash Brothers game is included on here. Not one is included. Let me see if Earthbound is. Earthbound is not included on the list. So just a few quick searches show me that a bunch of games aren't even supported, meaning that I don't even know what that means. Does that mean, like, if you sign up to the program, do you, like, and you create a video that is not on the whitelist, even though they say they'll monetize all your videos, even if they're not Nintendo related? They don't explicitly state that, by the way, but that's what the legal says, basically, is that's what it boils down to. In practice, we'll see what happens. So what happens if you submit your channel, the full channel, and they find videos on there that weren't on the whitelist? Will they terminate your program? I don't know. Again, this is very early days, and I'm not, unfortunately, going to be able to get an inside look at it because I'm not going to join up to this. One other thing that was of concern, and I just wanted to look for that. It says you can only use channels or videos that contain copyrighted content related to game titles specified by Nintendo, and they must be original creations. Be sure your videos do not contain copyrighted materials from third parties or content from unconfirmed game titles. All right, so I hadn't actually read that, and that's actually in red, so I wonder why I missed it. It's interesting, though, because even though that is included, they don't include that in the legal document that you signed. That's just under their guide. So it's interesting that they put something so explicit like that in their guide, but not in the actual document you sign and agree to. Another thing is, on every video you have to put in the description, I have a license to use Nintendo's content in this video through the Nintendo Creators Program. This video is not sponsored or endorsed by Nintendo, but any advertising revenue from this video will be shared with Nintendo. You have to put that in every video, and it must be prominently displayed so that every viewer, they say, has it's clearly visible or audible to anyone who views your video. Whether that means that it has to be in the top of your description, like I use the description to direct people to the next video or to the playlist or give them other information about my channel like Twitter or Facebook. I don't think I want the first few lines to be dedicated to a disclaimer like that. So that's kind of so that's not something that I want involved with either. Another thing was they can also arbitrarily at any time change the split. The 70% split they're giving you, or 60% on a video by video basis, that can change at any time. It even says this rate may change arbitrarily. I think I've covered everything that I think in the end what I want to say is this is while interesting and while proactive of Nintendo and the positives, I'm trying to look at the positives here. Good that they're finally acknowledging that Let's Plays are a legitimate form of creation and have a value added that, at least in part, belongs to the creator. There is something troubling about the idea that I know that Let's Players aren't necessarily reviewers. I've always said that on my channel, that we're not reviewing. However, we're giving you honest reactions. You're seeing it in the flesh. You're seeing the visceral, honest first reaction from us on our show, at least, when we play a game. Being a part connected to the creators of the video games financially brings in a real conflict of interest. And I would say that any channel that signs up to this program, suddenly being in bed with Nintendo, essentially, like having a mutual interest with the company, especially with terms and conditions that say objectionable content, libelous content, defamatory content, or you know, in those rules or code of conduct. Is defamatory giving a bad reaction to a video? Is it libelous to say that this is a bad video game and you shouldn't buy it? Will you still get honest reactions from those people who sign up to this program? I would say that's the most chilling effect from this, is that if it were to become pervasive, or if other companies look at this and like the idea of getting a share of revenue or having more control over the content that's created with their games, is this a way to muzzle or control the message as it's put out there by Let's Players? Will there be a definition at any point between reviewers and Let's Players? Will there need to be, based on programs like this? We'll see as it plays out. I'm very interested in how this goes, and like I said, I won't be signing up to it. There's way too much legal risks here that I'm seeing. I would rather continue how things are, let them take the pittance that they get from my videos for the very few odd ones that they claim through the Content ID, more than any other company regardless, but let them keep it, because I will not adhere or admit I will not adhere to the idea that I am always going to do nothing objectionable on my stream, decided 100% by Nintendo themselves, or an intern that works at Nintendo, what objectionable is. Oh man, he says he doesn't like the Patriots. Well, fuck him, that's objectionable to me. You know, like, so that's really interesting what's going on. Should be interesting to see how it plays out over the next few days. And dear Nintendo, why did you never hint that something like this was in the works either? This is how the company works. They're very, I guess this is how a lot of big companies work. we had to rumble and speculate for so long, having no idea that they had anything like this in the works, but they did. And now here it is. And whether other companies follow suit should be interesting. I really hope they don't. Let me just end by saying how I would have liked to see this come out 100%, because I want to reiterate that when I first heard this was happening, as soon as I got sent the link through Twitter, I wanted to give credit to who just broke it to me. As soon as I was sent the link, I was like, holy fuck. That's Mr. Blue on Twitter who told me. I was like, yes, I predicted this, and this is a brave new day for Let's Players and companies. But then everything that you just heard me talk about made it not so great a thing. But I want to say, this would have been awesome if they just said revenue split. We want to acknowledge that we can all make money from this, that we acknowledge your work. Let's split the revenue and come into the program, and that's it, basically. Like, I guess, like, that would be the dream agreement for me. But what would be in it for them, I guess? And what they've decided is that they will split they're okay with giving up 70% revenue if it means draconian, at least the ability to have draconian control, absolute control over the channels that sign up to this. That's what's in it for them. Otherwise, like, even if all of these other stipulations weren't involved in here, this would have been perceived by the general public as a positive thing, and that, bravo Nintendo, you're the good guys again. And I do fear that the perception like that is going to make it hard, once again, to make it clear to people that Nintendo is the only company that's doing this, that Nintendo is the only one that's not giving us 100% of the revenue. They're the only ones that, well, they're not the only ones that have acknowledged it, though, or that haven't. There are companies that still just haven't even talked about it, really. There are some that are just, la 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 la, do what you want, but we're not officially talking about the subject. So in that sense, it is good. But on the other sense, they are still bottom tier as far as all the game companies go. Because remember, please remember this, and please spread this message. Remember that all the other companies above Nintendo are all just letting you do it. Remember that, okay? Because you can say that, like, they didn't have to give you 70% of the revenue. Well, they didn't have to take 30% of it. So I guess that wraps that up. I'm sure I missed something that I wanted to talk about, but I want to get this out there. I might do a follow-up vlog, but I also have to get back to editing the post-pack show. A lot of stuff happened while I was in San Antonio. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. I love you, buddies.